Hi, and welcome back to Moms of Yoga. In today's video, in our mini-series on pregnancy and prenatal yoga, we're going to talk about some simple stretches and poses that help balance the pelvic floor muscles. If you haven't yet seen my video on the pelvic floor in pregnancy, I highly recommend you check it out. But for now, we're just going to do some simple, relaxing stretches that are going to help bring balance and tone to our pelvic floor muscles. This can make a big difference in how we feel both during our pregnancy and after, and it can also, more importantly, make a difference in how the baby sits in our pelvis and how we deliver the baby. I hope you enjoy this video. For our next pose, we'll need a block or something like a low stool to sit on. If you're using a yoga block, place it in the middle position, a few feet behind you. We're going to come to sit on our block. And once you're seated, walk your feet out in front of you, maybe 2 feet or so, making sure that the toes are no more than a 45-degree angle. It's very important that we don't turn them out all the way, as I'm showing here, because that puts a lot of strain on our pelvis, which is not good when we're pregnant. So move them back to 45 degrees. Go ahead and gently rest your hands on your knees. You want the spine to be long here. Go ahead and roll the shoulder blades down the back. And if you find your spine is rounding a little bit, think of maybe sticking your tailbone out behind you just so slightly, so you have a little bit of lumbar curve in the spine. We're going to place our elbows inside each knee and bring the palms together in a prayer pose at your heart center. The elbows are ever so slightly pushing on the knees, and the knees are gently pushing back on the elbows, engaging your inner thighs. And this is your modified squat pose. This is a really safe and effective way to stretch your pelvic floor muscles and to balance and tone them as well. This is a really good time to practice your pelvic floor toning. If you haven't seen episode 2 of this workshop series, Understanding Your Pelvic Floor, I highly recommend it. To tone our pelvic muscles, we're going to let the belly move outward, and the pelvic floor will lower towards the ground on an inhale. And on the exhale, the belly moves back in, and the pelvic floor muscles move back up. Nothing is forced here. It's just a natural and gentle movement. As we inhale, the belly moves outward, and the pelvic floor lowers towards the ground. And as we exhale, the belly moves back in, and the pelvic floor muscles move back up. Here I'm showing you the very same pose. I'm just showing it from the front so you have a better idea of where the toes should be pointed. I'm also going to show you here how to do this same squat pose using the wall for support. If you're feeling very tired or just a little unsteady, then this is a really good option for you. It gives the same benefit of the pose, but with a lot of support from the wall. So to do this, you're going to place the block in the medium position up against the wall, a few inches away. Go ahead and let your back slide down the wall as you bend your knees and come to sit in a squat pose on your block. You'll likely need to adjust the distance of the block from the wall until you get comfortable. Go ahead and walk your legs out a foot or so, and again, making sure that those toes are no more than 45 degrees. And to find the optimal position here, you don't want your back flat against the wall as I'm showing here. You want your tailbone to touch the wall, but you want to feel some space in that low back. There should be some air between the back and the wall. You'll be leaning forward slightly and placing your elbows inside your knees, bringing the palms together. Gently engaging the knees towards the elbows, making sure our spine doesn't round as I'm showing you here, but that it stays long. And the tailbone will feel like it's sticking out behind you. Go ahead and practice those pelvic toning breathing exercises. As you inhale, the belly releases forward and the pelvic floor moves down towards the ground. And as you exhale, the pelvic floor rises back up and the belly moves back in. And just play around with this breathing and moving of the belly and the pelvic floor on your own. And to come out of this, we're going to walk our hands up the wall, using it for support as we rise to stand. For our next pose, we need just a simple chair. We're going to stand in front of the chair. We're going to come to sit in the chair backwards, so the front of our body will be facing the back of the chair. Let your tailbone be sort of at the end of the seat, and your arms will come to rest on the chair back as you lean your torso forward a little bit. And you can place a pillow between the belly and the chair back if you want to for comfort. We're creating a sort of a hammock-like position for the baby to sort of hang out in. This is taking the weight off the pelvic floor muscles and giving the baby a lot of space in that hammock to maneuver and get into a good position for delivery. And this is also providing a nice gentle stretch to the pelvic floor muscles. Don't forget to practice that pelvic floor toning breath that we've been working on. Inhaling, letting the belly move forward as the pelvic floor muscles lower down, and exhaling, the pelvic floor muscles move back up and the belly moves back in. I really recommend people sitting like this several times a day throughout their pregnancy. It's great for balancing and toning the pelvic floor, but it can also be really handy if you have a baby that's breech and you're still trying to flip that kiddo. This is a really good pose for that. And for our last pose, we'll come to take a seat on a bolster or several cushions piled up. The goal is to get the hips a little bit higher than the knees. Bring the soles of the feet together and let the knees fall away to the sides. The tailbone should be out behind you a little bit so that your spine is long. This is bringing a stretch to your pelvic floor muscles. And if you have any pain in your knees or your hips during this, go ahead and place some extra pillows underneath your knees for support. Begin to reach your arms back behind you now, grabbing onto the outer edges of the bolster, and lean forward, letting your chest just sort of hang in the space between your knees. This is bringing a little bit of extra stretch into your pelvis, and it's also giving you a shoulder and a chest opener, which can feel really, really nice. Just take some nice deep breaths into your heart space here. You can even rock back and forth, side to side a little bit, just to move the stretch into different areas. I hope you enjoyed this video today, and I hope it brings some comfort to your pelvic floor. If you did enjoy it, please be sure to like and subscribe. This greatly helps other people find the information. Thank you.